Hello everyone, welcome to lesson 7, read and write view parameters. You have already learned how to create sheets and place views. Now let's automate the metadata like updating view names and view numbers. This is especially useful for constant naming or documentation control. In the first section, we are going to read view parameters. Now let's search for Python script node and edit it. As usual, we are going to import all the necessary libraries. We import CLR, from where we add reference. For the first one, we import Revit services. We add another one. Which is Revit API. And from Revit services, dot persistent, we import document manager. And from Autodesk, Revit database, we import all. And now we need to select from all the available instances the instance where we are working on. So I'm going to name it doc documents manager dot instance dot select the current database document. And now we need to provide our first input. We call it view, and we need to unwrap it. And here is our first input. Let's go back to Dynamo, search for views, and select one view that you would like. All right. We need to retrieve our name of view. This is how you do it. View, and as an attribute, we search for its name. We search for view type. I'm going to name it view type. And we say from view, give me view type. And I'd like to convert this one to a string. So we can say str, and as argument we provide view type as an attribute of our view. And another parameter that we are going to retrieve is a scale, and we say view dot scale. As an output, we end up with a list of name, view type, and a scale. Now let's save and run. Let's see. As you can see, we retrieved 3 parameters of the view that we provided with the views node. Now, what if we want to read parameters of a list of views? I'm going to copy this Python node here. For the input, let's search for categories and set it to views, and let's search for all elements of category. From where we can retrieve all the views in the Revit file. Alright. Now let's edit Python node. Let's clear this up to this line. Name this input to views. And now we need to search for valid views, because as you can see in the end of the list here, we end up with null, so we have to filter this out. I'm going to name my variable to valid views, and I'm going to use for command loop. We say v for v in views if v is not none. That's how you filter out nulls. Now we can extract our data. I'm going to name it names, and we make a list, and we retrieve the attribute of our views. First of all, name for v in, of course, the list that we provided before. Another parameter, which is view types. The same, we are going to list the view types. The attribute is view type, and we need this one as a string. For view in valid views. The last parameter, which is scale, I'm going to name it scales, and again Let's make a list and extract the attribute scale from the view. In the valid views list, and as an output we make a list of our names, view types, and the scales. Let's save and run. Of course, we didn't wire this to the input. Let's run it again. As you can see, we have three lists of those three parameters that we retrieve. If you want, you can transpose your list to have a list for each view containing those three parameters. Here we go. Now let's start to write view parameters. I'm going to copy the Python node here and edit it. Since we are changing an element attribute inside Revit, we need to import document transaction manager. So I'm going to add another line here, and from Revit services dot transactions we import transaction manager. Let's clear the lines here. All right. We need to define three inputs. Views. Actually, we are working with one view here. New name as a second input. And new scale. Now let's go back to Dynamo and provide these three inputs. Let's search for views again. I'm going to work with level 0 as a view, and as you can see, the scale is set to 100. Level 0. Let's make some space here. For the second input, we need to set new name. I'm going to search for element.name, from where we can retrieve our name of the element, and I'm going to bring out a code block and write view name, and I'm going to concatenate this with a word underscore modified. And here still we can set our scale to 15. Here is my second and third input. Let's edit our Python. we need to start our transaction. So we say transaction manager dot instance dot ensure in transaction, and as an argument, of course, in this document. Now I'm going to use if conditional. We say if new name, which was our second input, then view name this checks if new name is not empty, none, or false. In Python, this is a shorthand to say if new underscore name exists and is not empty, then do the following. If the condition is met, this sets the name of the Revit view to the view value provided by view name. We are going to use the same for the scale. If new scale is bigger than 0, then the attribute of view scale set it as we provided as a variable new underscore scale. From here, we need to close our transaction. We say transaction manager dot instance dot transaction task done. And as an output, we need our view. So by save and run the Python script, I'm expecting that in the Revit file, this name becomes to level 0 underscore modified and sets the scale to 50. Let's save and run. Let's see on the line 23. Manager that instance. Let's go back to Revit. So we have modified the name of this view to level 0 underscore modified, and we set the scale to 50. So in this lesson, you learn to read and modify view parameters, automate naming and scaling. In lesson 8, we will shift gears to geometry, retrieving location data, points, and curves from model elements like walls and floors.